Okay, so you're a young man in your 20s. Maybe you have a little bit of money. Maybe you have $1,000, maybe 2,000, 2,500, maybe 5,000 or $10,000, and you don't know what to do with that money. You say, okay, I've got this cash. What do I do with it? How do I make money with this money? Right? In this video, I'm going to go over some ideas for how you guys can do that. I'm going to give you some advice on some of the things that worked out for me, some of the things that didn't work for me, and how I would invest money if I was, in my 20s. And it's consequently, I am in my 20s. But um, if I was 20 years old, how would I invest $1,000? Let's just use that example, right? You have to understand, just zooming out here, you have to understand that $1,000 is not much money really at all in the grand scheme of things, right? It's $1,000 is $1,000, but that's not much money at all, right? So you're not going to make any crazy investment that's going to make you rich when you have $1,000 to your name, right? And same thing with, 2,000, 5,000, $10,000 is a decent amount of money, but it's really not that much either, right? So if we have $1,000, what would we invest it into that's going to get the highest impact in our lives, right? And in this example, let's just say we're, 25 years old. Let's just use that example, right? I can promise you that you are not going to get any better return out of that money than if you were to just invest that into yourself. And we hear that term all the time. Oh, invest into yourself, right? But what does that actually mean, right? What I would do, and again, this is not financial advice, just to be clear, is I would buy books, I would buy courses, I would pay mentors, I would network with people, I would do everything I could to invest in skills for what I wanted to do with my life. If I wanted to be a salesman, I would buy sales books, sales courses. I would do all that different kind of stuff. Pay mentors to teach me how to sell, right? If I wanted to be a web developer, I would watch courses, YouTube videos, which are free, by the way. I would do all of these different things, buy books on how to develop web projects. You get the idea. Determine whatever it is that you want to do with your life, whatever category you want to work in or are already working in, right? And then invest in education to be able to improve your skill set in that category. It really is that simple, right? In my case, I invested in marketing materials. When I was 20 something years old, I got a refund check. I might have been a little bit younger. I think I was about 19, maybe 18 or 19. I was coming out of college. I dropped out after my first year. I was playing basketball at a tiny little school. Um, and I got a refund check, I think from FAFSA, I think. I could be wrong, but it was a refund check from my schooling. Like I had, a scholarship and it paid me like over $1,000. It was from like a tax refund, I think. It's hard for me to even remember, to be completely honest with you. But I got a refund check that was like 1,200 bucks. And what I did with it is I knew I wanted to start a business and, build success, and I bought a Ty Lopez course that was, I think, like $999 on how to start a social media marketing agency course. I think you guys, if you're old enough, you probably know what I'm talking about, but that was a huge course that Ty Lopez used to have. So shout out to Ty Lopez. But anyway, I took that course and it taught me all about digital marketing and um, you know, how to build a career in digital marketing, how to build an agency, how to do all this different kind of stuff that I do to this day. And it taught me a lot. And I promise you, I got a lot more out of that one course than I ever would have gotten if I just put that into, the stock market or, the S&P 500, whatever it might be, or Bitcoin. Um, just to be clear, I think Bitcoin's going to be massive long term, but I think I got a lot more value out of that at the time than I would have gotten from buying, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Maybe not. I mean, that was like 2017, 18. You would have probably gotten a decent amount, but you get my point. um, you need to invest into yourself, right? Especially when you're a young dude who doesn't have any real skills. You likely have an income problem in your life. You need to get to a point to where you're making multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, um, with a high value skill set. That's how you get to a really good point in life to where you're financially secure, to where you are able to really invest and, make real money. That's what you need to do. And until you're at that point, let's just say you're just to be clear, I think your goal should be to get to $100,000 a year. I think that's a realistic target. for most people. And again, I understand that people come from tough situations and that's not doable for everybody. I understand that. I'm sympathetic to that. But the reality is, if you're a young man who's capable, who's healthy, and who lives in America or any, first world country, you can make $100,000 a year just by working your butt off, right? You're probably not going to do it with just one job. You might need to get two or three jobs, and that's perfectly fine. As long as you're able to produce the result, nobody cares. Okay. So work as hard as you possibly can to be able to hit that target, right? That's what you need to do. And if you're able to do that, you're going to be able to generate some actual money to where you can invest that and get a real return. That's when you can start investing into the stock market, crypto, real estate, like I've talked about multiple times. That's when you can start making real investments that are going to actually have enough, skin in the game to actually pay off long term. That's what you want to do, right? But when you're just coming up and you're trying to, invest $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, that's just not enough money. You need to be investing almost all of that money into yourself so that you can increase your earning potential and earning capability. That's exactly what you want to do. And you hear people saying this all the time online, but the reality is most of the people who are saying, oh, invest into yourself and invest in, you should be, investing every single dollar into your education. Most of those people have courses. Most of those people have coaching programs. Most of those people are trying to sell you something. That's why they're saying, oh, invest into your education. But that they're in a way they're right, because you should be investing in your education when you're young. Uh, that's just the reality. I mean, we all know how compounding interest works, and if you can do that into your education and do that into your skill set, that is going to pay massive dividends long term, right? So this is what you need to do. I promise you guys, if you're able to invest into your education every single year, you're going to become a very high value person in the workplace, and it's going to equate to you earning more money, right? And if you're working your butt off and working as hard as you possibly can every single day, and you're learning and you're developing new skills and you're doing that, I promise you guys, you're going to move forward every single month, every single year, and you're going to get to a point to where you have excess cash because you've been making more money because you have a higher skill set. That's just the way it works. It's how it worked for me. If it's worked differently for someone else, then I'd love to hear it. But as far as I understand, you get paid more when you have a higher skill set, right? I mean, Michael Jordan got paid a shitload of money in the NBA because he's Michael Jordan. He's the best there ever is, in my opinion. That's how it works. If you're the best in your field, you get paid. It's that simple. So focus on developing your skill set. Every single day, you should be taking action, watching videos, reading books, taking courses. Every single day, you should be doing that and creeping forward every single day, moving forward and developing progress towards those goals so that you can eventually get to a point to where you're earning, high five figures a year, low six figures, and eventually higher six figures if that's your goal. So that's what I would suggest. If you're a young dude and you have a little bit of money, that's great. Congrats, because you're a lot farther along than most people. Um, I forget exactly what it was. I actually should have brought it for this video, but the average net worth for people who are like under the age of 35 is just so small. So if you're able to invest into your education and develop a high value skill set like sales, marketing, tech, learn how to use AI, learn how to code, learn how to be a developer, all these skills are very, very very much in high demand right now. And if you can become a master at any of those, you're going to make so much money. It's going to be crazy. Right. So guys, that's how I would invest a little bit of money. If you have, $1,000, $3,000 saved up, invest it into your education, pay some mentors who have done whatever it is you're trying to do, take some courses, get a bunch of books, go on Amazon and get a bunch of books. You can go on used bookstores. There's websites that have used books. You could buy them for like $4 or $5 a piece. It's a lot cheaper than Amazon. Go buy 30, 40, 50 of them, right, that are all on the topic of whatever it is you're trying to learn. And you can do that, and it's going to be a much better investment in you, as opposed to, putting that small amount of money into, a market where you're going to get, a 5 to 8% yield year over year. 5 to 8% of $1,000 is nothing. Okay, I promise you, you're going to be much better off if you can take that money and instead of earning, $25,000 a year, take that money and go earn 60K a year. Or take that money, if you're earning 60 right now, take that money and go earn 120K a year. That's absolutely possible, right? So that's what I would suggest, especially for the young guys who are listening to this. But that's what I would suggest to anybody that has, just $1,000 saved up. That's not enough money to really be investing. You need to invest that small amount of money into your skill set, develop your skill set so that you're a higher value in terms of the marketplace individual, and then go out there and earn more money. And then once you have some real money, that's when you can start investing and really making, a solid impact when it comes to your asset portfolio and everything else that comes along with that. So anyway, guys, hope this helps you guys out. Drop a comment if this is helpful. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your feedback. If this is good, if this is bad, tell me it all. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. So hope this helps you guys, and talk later. Bye.